This show is not intended to provide the listener with specific medical advice, and you should seek the advice of a medical professional.
This program is brought to you by Zenus, leading the optimum wellness movement in body and spirit with nature.
My whole purpose is to get people off of their drugs and get them to live a healthy life.
It's such a miracle. I mean, this is dollar for dollar. Best stuff I've ever had in my office.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840 AM KXNT. We are here once again on a wonderful Sunday morning. My name is Anthony, of course. I'm with Doug Woodfield, educator and author of Life of Grave Danger. He's also the president and CEO of Zenus Global Health. Remember, this is the show where the consultation is free. We're backed by Nature's Pharmacy. That journey to wellness can all be yours. It just begins with your mindset. Mr. Woodfield, once again, a Sunday morning, a crisp Sunday morning. How are you, my friend?
Just wonderful. Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, there is just a tad bit of a nip in the air out there this morning. Beautiful, nice sunny, though.
2 weeks. Our Christmas season here comes to a wonderful conclusion.
Oh, going fast. Time's going fast, that's for sure.
Folks, by the way, if you want to get involved today, get on the line right away, 702-733-5968. We've got a special guest in our second and third segment. We'll certainly take calls if you have them there as well. Get in, because we're going to talk a little bit about host resistance today and a lot about Zenus products and what they can do once we get past the removal of the poisons and toxins, Doug. We've been talking an awful lot about that, but there's even more that we need to do or more we need to discuss, which really gets into once you remove something, you want to add something too. This is the concept of an adaptogen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our whole philosophy is predicated on let's educate, not medicate.
Right.
And the Optimum D-Tox, of course, that's just one of several products that we have. Our products are predicated on our philosophy, not vice versa. And the Optimum D-Tox is, we talk about it a lot because it's our flagship product, and it's received notoriety all over the world. It's one of two products only ever in the history of the entire planet of a Western-based herbal supplement being approved with both drug identification numbers and import permits by the Federal Ministry of Health in China after a 5-year, $7 million study. And they call it the Foundation of Health. And as an adaptogen, what an adaptogen in nature is really something found in nature that restores balance. And in the case of the body, that's twofold, because a disease is just that. It's a body out of balance. Restore balance, you eliminate the disease. And typically it's brought on because of the fact that you're not getting something that you should be getting, and also brought on by the fact that you're getting too much of something that you shouldn't have. And in the case of the too much of something you shouldn't have, it's typically accumulated waste. So the first order business would be to let's get rid of the cause, which is the accumulated waste. The next thing is let's give the body all the tools that it needs so it can go ahead and rebuild any damage that's maybe been done by these poisons. And, of course, we talk about the phytosterols that are able to help motivate the friendly aerobic bacteria in the gut so that they come forth in greater numbers. They produce up to 60,000 times more enzymes so that they can more effectively break down and eliminate any of this accumulated waste that's rotting and putrefying in the colon.
Typically, when we talk about adaptogens, we're looking at it from a formulaic expression, I guess, which is what Optimum D-Tox is. We see it as something as promoting resistance to biological stress. What specifically does Optimum D-Tox do? Once we get rid of the poisons and toxins, what does it replace so that we know we can build host resistance from that?
Why it's deemed to be the single most potent, powerful adaptogen in nature is because of the environment where the plant grows. It has to go through a lot of stressful conditions. It grows in the Mojave Desert, extremely high temperatures, highest recorded temperatures ever in history. You've got freezing in the winter, you got wind, you got insect attacks, you got flash floods, you got drought. Plant might not see moisture for several years. So nature's endowed it with some special characteristics and components that create that adaptogen process. And some of them, well, it comes, for example, you've got in the yucca, the Mojave yucca, or the Optimum D-Tox, because it's a whole food plant extraction. We use the bark, the stem, the stalk, the root, all of it, but it comes with a full complement of your vitamins. It's got vitamin A, all your B complexes, vitamin C, then it comes with zinc, copper, magnesium, manganese, potassium, silver, all of the minerals that go directly to supporting your adrenals. And that's critical because your adrenal system is charged with the function of being able to monitor and control all the chemistry in your body. Even your thyroid, if you've got an overactive or underactive thyroid, typically it's because your adrenal system has been compromised. And typically the adrenal system's compromised because it's not getting enough of these trace minerals. Now, also because it's dealing with the chemistry, understand that even our emotions play a role in it. You show me somebody that's got anger issues or road rage, I can show you somebody that's got a compromised adrenal system. So the Optimum D-Tox goes to helping with all that, addressing all of the different stresses that on the body and helping to restore balance.
Folks, once again, you're listening to the Zenus Health Show here on News Talk 840 AM KXNT. If you want to get involved here in the conversation about adaptogens, what you need to do in terms of toxins and poisons and what needs to replace them, give us a call, 702-733-5968. Get on the phone now and speak with Doug Whitfield and get you some answers to some questions you may have about your wellness. Doug, another thing I really wanted to get involved with here very early on is you get this question sometimes from people, well, I got this regimen, right? I'm already on a bunch of different supplements. Why should I add Optimum Detox? And I say to people, if you're on something, you better get an Optimum Detox because by its very nature, Optimum Detox will supercharge whatever regimen you have because that's something great about your products. They don't interfere with other regimens because they're based in nature.
Well, here's what they found in the study that they did, in China, that they found, because there was 2 of our products that they were testing, both of which were approved, but they found the Optimum Detox as being an adaptogen increased the efficacy of the other product by 4 times. And it's simply because it puts the body in a far better posture so it can more effectively and readily be able to absorb those things that you're taking. There's lots of great products out there. We're not the only company that makes good products. There's lots of products that we recommend made by other manufacturers, but all I'm saying is the Optimum Detox will increase the efficacy of those other products. The other thing that I'd like to make mention of, part of what makes it an adaptogen, interesting, when we were driving home after our show last week, there was another health show come on, and they were talking about resveratrol. A lot of people not familiar. Resveratrol is a phytonutrient, and it's typically talked about because it comes in the skin of grapes. Say, well, red wine has resveratrol. Well, the amount of resveratrol in red wine, you'd probably need to drink about 5,000 glasses to get a benefit, and I can assure you, you'd fry your liver long before you got a benefit from it. It comes in the skin of the grape. But here's the interesting thing. The Mojave yucca, because we use the bark, is one of the richest sources of what they call still bean compounds. Resveratrol being one of them, but we've got all the analogs in what they call the trans resveratrols, which are much more potent than even resveratrol for things that they're shown to be doing now, even in medical science, things like anti-tumor, anti-cancer, anti-aging, all of these benefits that come from resveratrol, and even more so from the trans resveratrol. Now, there's another group in that same family, what they call still being compounds. These are all phytonutrients, but the same family called eucols that are found exclusively in the bark of the Mojave yucca. And there's 5 different fractions. Those are shown significantly to reduce or eliminate even the stickiness in blood platelets. So people with cardiovascular challenges, high blood pressure, anything like that, that's going to benefit them. If somebody, is taking what we call a platinum drug, for example, AIDS patients go on AZT or DDI, cancer patients with chemotherapy, these are all platinum drugs, insidiously toxic to the body. Well, these eucols, part of this family, are able to either eliminate or at the very least, significantly reduce any of the side effects associated with these poisonous drugs.
And there are a number of tales out there about cholesterol can kill us, that high cholesterol causes coronary heart disease. We hear that lowering cholesterol with statin drugs will prolong our life. I mean, we don't have a lot of time to get so deep into it, but help us separate a little bit of the fact and fiction here, because there's a bit of a hoax out there.
Well, it's probably one of the greatest hoaxes ever perpetrated. And I talk about this. I was teaching here at the UNLV. I taught courses on nutrition in there, and one of the courses I taught was on cholesterol. I call it cholesterol phobia because it's a man-made disease. Years ago, drug companies got involved in creating statin drugs, and they were really designed for something totally unrelated, and they were a dismal failure. Didn't work, flat out didn't work, but they found in their studies that one of the things that they did do is that they lowered cholesterol, LDL cholesterol. So at that point, in order to market this product that they had invested heavily into, they had to create a new disease. So it's called high cholesterol. Matter of fact, they're even promoting statin drugs to people that don't even have high cholesterol. Well, first off, there's no absolutely no scientific evidence to support the fact that cholesterol plays any significant role in heart or coronary disease whatsoever. Cholesterol is produced by the liver in the body. The liver produces it as a natural anti-inflammatory. Now, we can get cholesterol in the food that we're eating, but the liver has a wisdom and it monitors it. So if we're taking too much cholesterol in on our diet, the liver reduces its production. If we're not getting enough, the liver increases its production. But it's rushed to any place where there's an inflammation condition. But anytime there's an inflammatory condition in the body, you'll have an elevated cholesterol rate, but it has nothing to do with illness or sickness. Matter of fact, it's a sign that the body's healthy and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Folks, you are listening to the Zenus Health Show, brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Check out the website at zenusglobalhealth.com/information. You can also give them a call at 702-540-5668. When we come back, our special guest, Dr. Althea Myrie, will join us to talk a little bit about the blood-brain barrier, head injuries, autism, as well as food allergies and more. You're going to want to get to know this lady. Come right back.
What if I could show you a way to increase your energy and your vitality, lower your blood pressure, and enhance your libido? No doctors, no drugs. Every day, I'm confronted by people that are just too anxious to tell me that they've got no energy, that they've got no drive. How be if we could change all that?
That's right. Make that call and make it now. Call Zenus at 702-540-5668. Unleash the power today.
We're constantly under siege by poisons and toxins in our food, in the water we drink, and even in the air that we breathe. Our liver, kidney, skin, and lungs were just not designed to handle this level of contamination. Hi, my name is Doug Whitfield, President and CEO of Zenus Global Health. When I wrote my last book, Life or Grave Danger, I could never have imagined the impact that it would have, not just on people seeking advice on wellness, but how it was received by health professionals all across the spectrum. The cause of all chronic disease and premature aging is directly linked to poisons and toxins. Stress, nutrition, lifestyle choices, and our mindsets are key factors, but we cannot achieve the quality of life we deserve without first having the right information at our fingertips. And this is why I wrote Life or Grave Danger, to shine a light on the biggest questions of our time.
Get the book that is destined to be a classic. Order Life or Grave Danger directly from Zenus, 702-540-5668. Stop chronic disease before it starts. Call now.
Not only is it the most wonderful time of year, it's also the most stressful.
Family, you got some financial burdens, all the shopping.
While you're shopping, wrapping, cooking, and cleaning, stay informed by listening.
Enjoy the holidays.
Check in for updates every hour throughout the day on KXNT.
Hey folks, welcome back. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show here on News Talk 840 AM KXNT. My name is Anthony. I'm here also with Doug Whitfield, who is the author of Life or Grave Danger, also the CEO and president of Zenus Global Health, and joining us via the host-resistant hotline, a great friend of the show, great friend of the company as well. Her name is Dr. Althea Myrie. Dr. Myrie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it.
We are definitely looking forward to speaking with you because you have such a fascinating background. You are somebody who has one of the most fabulous bits of curiosity that I've ever met in my life. You have an amazing track record in terms of your work in the naturopathic arena, ranging from everything from head trauma to food sensitivities and more. We have a lot to discuss with you today, my friend, here on the Zenus Health Show. Say hello to Doug, first of all.
Hi, Doug. How are you doing?
Good morning, Althea. How are you, Dr. Myrie?
I'm very well, thank you.
Awesome.
Dr. Myrie, how did you get involved with Zenus and the products? How did you come to know Zenus?
Right. The reason I was looking at the products or utilize them was predominantly one of the main things is around blood sugar control. Many things do not work on type 1. Often they work on type 2, but not many things work on type 1 diabetes. And I found that the formulas were excellent in that arena, and there are not many in the marketplace that I could say that about. Also, the Esseniac is a great detoxifier and works on the lymphatic system, which is an area of concern to me when I look at people's overall well-being and health. Then we want to look at how do you move that lymphatic system. Lymphatic moves blood, and it controls the immune response. For very serious autoimmune diseases, you look at cancer. I had an issue with my daughter who got lymphoma. But again, if I look at young people with getting cancer, then I have to look at the teeth. And the lymphatic system, you have the teeth draining infection into down the side of the neck, straight into the lymphatic, where the immune is now going to pay attention to infection instead of protecting and guarding you from cancer. And that's what transpires. So the lymphatic is very, very critical to maintain for men and women. Your prostate cancers, you have to look at lymphatic movement. Breast is the same. And so very concerning what you're putting under your arms directly into the lymphatic system that has such an influence and impact on whether you get cancer or not. Is very dependent on your lymphatic system because part of your immune is regulated through the lymphatic system, which I don't think people really consider that angle at all.
You've got a very interesting background in the sense that you do a lot of work in the blood-brain barrier, and it's something that we do here at Zenus as well when we talk about our product Kelate, when we're dealing with toxic heavy metals, the presence of these elements in our food, in our environment, what have you. We seem to be undergoing this big transformation in just the raw numbers of people who are afflicted with neurological diseases and also all kinds of food allergies. Are these things somehow, they're linked? I mean, how do you see it, Dr. Myrie?
Indeed, everything is, there's a connection in everything in what you're saying. With regards to the blood-brain barrier, if I look at mental health challenges, we have a huge problem currently where I've just seen a study from Europe indicating that, under 12 years old, the levels of depression and anxiety has gone through the roof. So we have to ask the question, what in our environment has changed to increase these numbers? I have so many people here in the U.S., young people, having horrendous issues with anxiety, and they can't control it. Now, interestingly, studies from Europe and in India, they looked at the white matter of the brain of people, young people using these gadgets without any restrictions. And some are more addicted than others. And what was quite extraordinary was they found that the white matter of the brain exactly replicated the changes and alterations that happen when you're a heroin addict. And that's from using gadgets. Studies are coming out of Europe, and you have to ask the question, how is that feasible? And what I found is the companies that make the games and these technology that we're using so liberally, they found a way to train the people that make the games. They have to study all the books on psychology, because my friend's son was trained this way. He had to study Carl Jung and every psychology book, but what was the purpose of that? The purpose was simply to teach him how to interface the brain waves of any individual that was using these gadgets and these games. So what he can do is literally move the colors across the screen at a certain speed and timing, and move the images at a certain speed and timing. And he is then interfacing directly into the brain and brain waves of from 0 to 15, 15 to 30, 30 to 45, and so on and so on. So the other huge problem is the level of gambling in Europe. They've been saying in London they don't know why it's gone off the charts. Well, it's a simple equation. If you have these gadgets and games and people now do gambling, everything's online, then they are being exposed and manipulated to create further addiction on top of what they already have as a problem. But that addiction and those interfacing and brainwaves is having a direct impact on young people, unbeknownst to them. Secondly, the use of the technology, i.e. the telephones, the cell phone. I have studies that show you that they're increasing the permeability, which in English means that the blood-brain barrier is weaker. It's being opened, which means then infections fly in the door. And again, anxiety will go through the roof when you're constantly using these tools. People sleep with the phone next to them in their bed. The EMF exposure disrupts the pineal gland, which means that now I wake up at 2 in the morning and I can't go back to sleep. Again, high sleep deprivation in young people long term is going to create problems with depression and anxiety. So we have to look environmentally at what these triggers are. When you mentioned about heavy metals in the brain, when I look at mental health for 20-odd years, I've worked with people with mental illness, and I found a commonality. I always ask them, what exposure did you have to heavy metals? So I had a mother who had a 6-year-old, which could only be in America. The child was on red flag, Zoloft, major antidepressant drugs at 6 years old. So my immediate question has to be to the mother, how did you expose this child to lots of heavy metals? Let's go through the list and look at this. So I said, okay, the South American diet, how much were you using of the antacids? Well, they're full of aluminium, a metal, which is aluminium, you say aluminum. Yeah, I just do the corrections there, or translations. Now, yeah, I often have to.
Spot on.
Spot on. Yeah, aluminium is high levels in the antacid products. Well, she said, oh, yeah, I drank one of them. She drank all day, every day, because she was acidic as anything. So there's number one for this psychotic child with diagnosis of psychosis at 6 years old. So there's my number one exposure to metal. Secondly, said to the young mother, did you smoke? Oh, yes, I smoked, but the doctor told me it would be too stressful for me to stop immediately. She smoked for the first 3 months of the pregnancy, which is ludicrous. How can a doctor tell you this? Now, every cigarette produces 2 metals, cadmium and nickel. So the baby now got loaded up with a second metal. Here comes the psychosis. I said, did you have any surgeries while you were pregnant? Well, she had some nasal work done, and they put her under. Of course, that has aluminium as well. So she had another exposure for the baby, and this list went on. So between the cigarettes, the Pepto-Bismol, going under for surgery, the anesthesia, which also has aluminium in it, I apologize, it has mercury derivative.
Dr. Myrie, if I could, we have to take a really quick break here, but I want to continue this conversation when we come back. You are listening again to the Zenus Global Health Show. Make sure you take a look at the website at zenusglobalhealth.com/information or give them a call at 702-540-5668. We're here with Dr. Althea Myrie. You're going to want to hold on here because we get a lot more to get to in terms of the blood-brain barrier. Come right back. This is the Zenus Health Show.
Optimum D-Tox. It's unlike any detox formula you've ever used, and you'll feel the effects instantly. Our bodies are constantly picking up unhealthy toxins that slow us down, make us feel tired, and can cause disease. But just as we take in toxins on a daily basis, we need to help our bodies eliminate them daily too. Optimum D-Tox is the only whole food detox formula that gives your body exactly what it needs to become a supercharged toxin-fighting machine. It's so concentrated, just a few drops taken with water or your favorite drink starts eliminating toxins right away. The secret is in the powerful all-natural Mojave Yucca, proven to give your body what it's lacking to fight and eliminate toxins.
I take Optimum D-Tox every day, and I feel like I'm 20 again.
Detoxing every day is vital to health. I've never felt better.
Take the Optimum D-Tox Challenge and feel the difference instantly. You won't believe how great you'll feel, and we'll guarantee it.
Call now, not next week, not next month, 702-540-5668. Eliminate deadly toxins today.
This is your news and talk station, built for you, one conservative brick at a time. This is News Talk 840 AM, KXNT.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Zenus Health Show here on News Talk 840 AM KXNT Las Vegas. My name is Anthony, joined of course with Doug Whitfield, educator and author of Light for Grave Danger. Again, also the president and CEO of Zenus Global Health. Remember, the consultation here is always free. We're backed by Nature's Pharmacy, and that journey to wellness can all be yours. It just begins with your mindset. We're here with Dr. Althea Myrie, who is just a fascinating listen. We had a chance to talk during the week, and I really got to know her a bit. Wonderful curiosity, has some wonderful thoughts about the blood-brain barrier, how this impacts children, adolescents. I want to pick back up as to where we were talking about aluminum and other heavy metals in young people. Dr. Myrie, can you continue where we had left off about some of the things you had discovered in some case studies?
Right. Just following up with the young child, clearly the heavy metal toxicity had a huge impact on that child's ability. The same in the autistic spectrum. I would always check if a mother had a lot of mercury fillings in her mouth, which are very toxic. I often entertain myself and I ask the dental nurse, well, tell me, when you remove the mercury from people's mouth, which is your silver fillings, or those railroad tracks your children wear that you call braces, either way, there's exposure and releasing of toxins. So what happens now with the cell phones, the studies show that it acts as an antenna. You release, I believe, like 4 or 5 times more mercury from these silver fillings when you are using a cell phone, acting as an antenna and affecting brain function. So again, there's a link to Alzheimer's with this constant exposure that we're having. And so, without a doubt, the heavy metals in the mother's mouth, most of the autistic spectrum mothers I find have had issues with a lot of fillings in their mouth. Even if they've had them removed, it's still stored in tissues and they haven't taken anything to remove them. So again, the value of these products from Zenus is for the detoxification of these toxic compounds that have a huge impact on the brain. Now, the question is, why do the heavy metals have an impact on the brain? What happens is that, say you have a mercury filling in your mouth, so after 6 weeks it transports into tissue. The tissue it goes into is fat. Now your brain is 60% fat. So of course all this mercury and cadmium and whatever other metal, nickel that you're exposed to, it gets stored into fat cells. That is the brain. 60% of the fat is in your brain is made of fat. The other is your myelin sheath, the coating of your nerves is fat. Mm-hmm. So it sits there, and as you get older and older, you start showing more and more problems because it's doing more damage. And so people start with a little low mood, then 2 more years, I'm a full-blown depressant, but it's still linked to the metals. So autistic spectrum, ADD, ADHD, I'm looking for heavy metals, typically from fetal stage, from in the womb. It crosses the placenta, they've proven it, straight to the baby. Baby's got no hips, no breasts, so it's going to get stored predominantly in the brain. So again, whether it's adults or children, we want to look at detoxifying these toxic metals out of our system, which most of us have been exposed to through dental work, through exposure to secondhand cigarette smoking, which has nickel and cadmium, or your Pepto-Bismol business with the antacids, they're full of aluminium. And then we have the deodorants that's also got aluminium going straight into the lymphatic, and the lymphatic takes material straight to the brain, because medically they've now discovered last 2 years there is a lymphatic system in the brain. They call it the glymphatic system, and this is why things readily go from the deodorant under the arm into the lymph straight into the brain, the more toxic metals. So I think with that scenario, one can see that there's a value to detoxifying with the Esseniac and the Optimum D-Tox to start removing some of these and avoiding some of the problems that are going to come with memory issues with Alzheimer's, which is well-established fact that there is a link to heavy metals. And the other one, obviously, the joke is the indication of mental illness. I'm from London, so we say you're as mad as a hatter. We just have this joke. We say we're saying you over here, you say they're crazy, but we say you're mad as a hatter. So where does that? It indicates mental illness, and this is how. In Victorian England, they used to make hats. The people that made the hats were called hatters. But when they made the hats, they had to handle mercury. So after a while in the job, when they had enough built up in the system, guess what happened to them? They went mad. And this is one of the underlying causes of mental health, is exposure to metal, especially mercury. So the Mad Hatters is about mental illness from exposure to mercury. So clearly, again, the value of using the Esseniac detoxifying is absolutely crucial for all of us, man, woman, or child, because we are all being exposed. Obviously, the other exposure is those of us that have looked up what they call it geoengineering, but we call it chemtrails. And they have said clearly they are emitting high levels of aluminium in the skies. So again, we're getting exposed constantly, whether we choose to be or not. Inadvertently, we are being exposed to lots of heavy metals, and it will go directly into the brain because of the fat content.
I would also say, Dr. Myrie, is that so often, and I'm sure you experience the same thing, we're talking to people that say, well, so-and-so got sick, or this person got sick, got this, and I don't understand it because they eat so good, and they, but what they don't understand is that we're constantly exposed to more poisons and toxins environmentally than ever before in history. And they don't even read the labels on your toothpaste, for example, which is totally loaded with fluoride. And it tells you right on the label, don't swallow. Do they not know that there's absorption through the tongue? Anyway, so you're still going to get fluoride into your system, which is insidiously toxic.
Correct. And that's the biggest scam that's been perpetrated on man, is that we believe that fluoride is good for our teeth. Because, I said to my husband, I first met him, I wanted to entertain myself. I said, fluoride's really bad for you. Of course, I'm looking for the knee-jerk response. That's ridiculous. Of course it's good for you. So I said to him, well, really, have you read any studies confirming that? Of course he hasn't. I said, no, you've been convinced by the Colgate smile.
Yeah, that's right.
With the research here, okay?
Yeah.
So fluoride is horrendous. It is a waste byproduct of the chemical fertilizer industry, the glass and aluminium industry. And 40 years ago, they didn't know where to dump the waste, but they told us fools, it's rather good for your teeth.
Yeah.
Now, subsequent studies for 20 years have proven that where they have the highest level of fluoride in the water, they have the highest level of dental disease. So this is an absolute fabulous lie.
Yeah.
It also accumulates in the bones, shuts your thyroid down, so you will gain weight when you're exposed to fluoride in large amounts because it inhibits your thyroid from functioning. Because when your thyroid needs to work, you need to have iodine. You say iodine. Iodine and fluoride cannot cohabitate in the same place. One has to override the other. So what happens when you're constantly exposed to this fluoride, you displace the iodine, so your thyroid does not work. So people are gaining weight. They go to the doctor. The doctor says, no, your thyroid's absolutely perfect by blood test. But what they do not know is that the thyroid levels may be showing normal, but they are not active anymore. They've been inactivated by fluoride and also bromide. And bromide you will find in your flour. Every flour you buy that is non-organic has bromide, and they both end with IDE. Fluoride and bromide are what we call halogens, and they will inhibit thyroid function. So we have weight gain from the bread simply because it's bread, but also because it has bromide. They found it was cheaper to throw that in the mix than iodine. Voila.
I had a call from a professor out of the University of Alberta here several years ago, and he was working with 3M and DuPont, and they were concerned over some poisons that they refer to as perfluorinated compounds, PFCs.
Mm-hmm. PFCs.
And they're so common, and most of us don't know. They come in Gore-Tex clothing, waterproofing. They come in our Scotch Guard. They come in, even our dental floss has these. And what they've discovered now is that they cause cancer. And it's not a matter of if or when. It's a matter, not if, but when. And so a lot of stomach cancer. So he had been involved doing a study. He had a PhD in environmental health. He was also an MD, a doctor as well, had a practice out of Edmonton. He had contacted me regarding the Optimum D-Tox because when these PFCs get into the gut, there's no way that the body hasn't worked out a way of how to eliminate them, so they're constantly being absorbed through the gut wall, and they cause irreparable damage, which results in cancer. And it was because of the saponins in the Optimum D-Tox, the soap molecules that could bind with them, hold them in suspension, so the body had to excrete them. They could no longer pass through the gut wall. So they're involved in doing a study in that even as we speak.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so what we're highlighting is the level of exposure. I call it a war zone. The body we're going through an evolution. I call it devolution because we're actually going back in terms of aging. I am telling people that young people will not reach the ripe age of 70 and 80 anymore because the toxic exposure is so high. Cancer is now gone at a rapid rate. And this is because of the chemical exposure in the food and the environment. Radiation definitely causes cancer. This has been established forever. But yet women take mammograms, which is more radiation, and they're convinced that somehow this level is acceptable.
Dr. Myrie, we're kind of running up against it, but how can people get in touch with you if they want to continue this conversation and ultimately engage your services? How do they get in touch with you?
If they do an email, they can email Dr. Myrie, dr.myrie @yahoo.co.uk. Again, I will repeat. It's dr for doctor, dot, you say period, Myrie, MYRIE @yahoo.co.uk.
My word, you do all the translation and you give us such fabulous information at the same time and stay curious. I just find you fascinating, and I really, really enjoyed having you on the show today. I know Doug did as well. It's always a treat.
Just getting to talk again. It's been a while since I talked to you, Dr.
It has been a while, I know.
Well, we got to keep in closer communication. I just want to thank you so much for being so aligned and supporting us the way you have through all these years. We really do appreciate you a lot.
You're very welcome, and thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you, folks. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show here on News Talk 840 AM KXNT Las Vegas. More with Doug. Get on the line, 733-5968, and this lovely area code 702. More with Doug.
Toxins create disease. They are everywhere. In our food, in the air we breathe, in our homes, at our places of work.
Heavy metals accumulate in our systems every day, causing numerous health problems that can seriously impact every major organ in our bodies.
They are stored in our organs, tissues, and bones.
We also know that metal toxicity is often derived from all kinds of environmental threats. But no matter the origin, studies now show that heavy metals in the body may be implicated to Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, behavioral problems, kidney dysfunction, epilepsy, and even paralysis.
Are you toxic? The answer is yes. We are all toxic.
And that's precisely where Kelate comes in.
Start detoxing today.
The strongest whole food detoxifying agent for heavy metals. Call Zenus at 702-540-5668 and strike back at toxic heavy metals today.
We're constantly under siege by poisons and toxins in our food, in the water we drink, and even in the air that we breathe. Our liver, kidney, skin, and lungs were just not designed to handle this level of contamination. Hi, my name is Doug Whitfield, President and CEO of Zenus Global Health. When I wrote my last book, Life or Grave Danger, I could never have imagined the impact that it would have, not just on people seeking advice on wellness, but how it was received by health professionals all across the spectrum. The cause of all chronic disease and premature aging is directly linked to poisons and toxins. Stress, nutrition, lifestyle choices, and our mindsets are key factors, but we cannot achieve the quality of life we deserve without first having the right information at our fingertips. And this is why I wrote Life or Grave Danger, to shine a light on the biggest questions of our time.
Get the book that is destined to be a classic. Order Life or Grave Danger directly from Zenus, 702-540-5668. Stop chronic disease before it starts. Call now.
Not only is it the most wonderful time of year, it's also the most stressful.
Family, you got some financial burdens, all the shopping.
While you're shopping, wrapping, cooking, and cleaning, stay informed by listening.
Enjoy the holidays.
Check in for updates every hour throughout the day on KXNT.
Hey, folks, welcome back. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840 AM KXNT. If you want to get involved, get on the Host Resistance Hotline at 702-733-5968. If you want to talk to Doug Whitfield, the educator and author of Life or Grave Danger. Again, I want to thank Dr. Althea Myrie. Folks, if you aren't listening about what is happening in our environment, about deadly poisons and toxins and what's happening in our environment, you need to get awakened. We want to go quickly, though, right to the line here for Chris on the Host Resistance Hotline. Fire away, my friend.
Okay, good morning. This is kind of a little bit off topic, but what you were mentioning last week, just in passing, was that you have a machine that vibrates to help kind of like keep everything open and lose weight. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Oh, how are you today?
I'm great.
Awesome. That was Dr. Ritter that was our guest last week. He has a practice here in town. There's a lot of those type of machines out there. The one that he has is the best that I've ever seen. It's really amazing because it promotes more activity in the lymphatics and that. I'll give you a number here. You can reach him. It's Dr.
Awesome, yeah.
Dr. George Ritter, and his number 702-491-6924. Matter of fact, that's his direct cell number, so I don't know if you'll appreciate that number, but that's what it is. So you call him anyways, I'm sure.
How do you spell his last name, and I'll try it for the office.
Ritter, Ritter, Dr. George Ritter.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the call, Chris. Have a great day.
Bye.
Folks, again, you're listening to the Zenus Health Show. If you want to get involved on the Host Resistance Hotline, 702-733-5968. Again, the consultation's always free. We are backed by Nature's Pharmacy. Doug, having listened to Dr. Myrie for a couple of segments And again, we barely scratched the surface. This show moves awfully quick. We talk about poisons and toxins and how that relationship is changing with the human form and how deep it's going even to young people. This is rather alarming information. It's not out there. People aren't discussing it because, we think when we're young we can conquer anything. But what I'm hearing is that we're reaching a quick crisis point where if we don't do something early in our lives around our health regimen and our wellness, we are setting ourselves up for future trouble.
Yeah, well, there's no question. It's actually what we have in this country and North America, the Western world, is sickness care, not health care. And so what we got to do is educate people so that they can become more proactive and take control of their own health. There's actually been studies done. There was a time in California, for example, the doctors weren't getting paid. There was no money in the state, and doctors literally were on strike for all intents and purposes. Well, the interesting thing is they found when doctors weren't seeing patients, mortality rates dropped significantly. Less people dying. And what I'm saying is that when people start taking control and empower themselves to look after themselves, at the end of the day, only you know how you feel. And so once they start taking control, start doing their own due diligence and take care of their own health, that's when things start changing and they start feeling better.
When I hear the phrase toxic heavy metals, and I hear it coming from a naturopathic doctor, and I hear it over and over and over, that immediately links me to one of your, I think, underrated products that people don't spend a lot of attention to, and that is Kelate.
Yeah.
Help people understand what Kelate does and why it's important. And I know we're running a bit out of time here, but if you can quickly give folks an idea what it is and how they can get in touch with you to talk more about it, because we need to talk about toxic heavy metals.
Well, the nice thing about Kelate, again, it's a product that comes entirely and directly from nature's pharmacy. And going back to Hippocrates, let food be your medicine, medicine be your food, because nature has a way of synergistically blending together all the components that are in harmony with the body's needs. In the case of the Kelate, what we've done is we've taken cilantro, we concentrate cilantro. Cilantro is the best herb known for being able to actually attract and pull metals out of cells and out of tissue. The problem with cilantro on its own is that it doesn't have the propensity to bind with those toxic metals once it's extracted them. So the risk is always that it will drop them off and leave them somewhere that could be more damaging. And because it does have the propensity to pass the blood-brain barrier, so what we've done is we've combined it with an organic cracked cell chlorella. And these make an awesome thing because the cracked cell chlorella works synergistically with the cilantro, and it has the ability to also pass the blood-brain barrier, but it takes the extracted heavy toxic metals that's been taken out by the cilantro, binds them, holds them in suspension till they reach their final destination, which is excrement.
So if people want to order Kelate, how do they do that, Doug? Do they give you a call? What do they have to do?
Yeah, well, the best thing to do is just, they can call right into the office. They can go to the website, of course, www.zenusglobalhealth.com/information, or they can call the number, the office, 702-540-5668, and they can speak to somebody directly and that will best advise them how to get these products and what their needs are.
Folks, that is Doug Whitfield, and this has been the Zenus Global Health Show, brought to you by Zenus Global Health, where the consultation is free and we're backed by Nature's Pharmacy. Again, follow us on Facebook at Zenus HQ. Check us out on Twitter at Zenus Global for all the updates and more. The greatest gift you can give your friends at this holiday season, your loved ones, is the lessons we can share about our health. So send your friends, families, a link to this show, a link to Zenus. And again, catch us next Sunday at 8 a.m. right here on News Talk Radio 840 KXNT Las Vegas. Make sure you stay well. Talk to you next week, people. Please be advised that statements made during this show have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The information provided herein is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose nor treat any illness, nor does it suggest or imply a cure for any disease or chronic condition. In fact, you should always consult a physician and or healthcare professional before starting this or any nutritional program to determine if it is right for your needs.